Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estamos? Es Sharon de aquí, del Café de la Tarde con Sharon, de Tower Team Realty. Espero que estén todos muy bien en esta excelente tarde. Hoy les tengo un programa bien interesante, muy interesante. ¿Sabes cómo proteger tu patrimonio personal? ¿Cómo vas a proteger a tu familia? Pues para eso te he traído a Daniel Coriat, que va a estar con nosotros dentro de nada, ya inmediatamente yo termine aquí. Vamos a traerlo y we're going to be speaking in English today. So we're going to be talking about state and how to prevent you how to protect your family. Let's bring my friend Daniel. Hey Daniel, ¿cómo estás?
Hey Sharon, how are you? Nice to seeing you.
Good on you. Okay, so you're an awesome lawyer. You were doing litigations for many, many years.
Right.
Right now, you change your practice in a different way because something happened that it took you to this.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more because this is a very important for everyone. We don't think on our future, what's gonna happen after we die, what's gonna happen. We just think of, okay, we did all this and that's it. Tell me a little bit more, Daniel.
Sure, Sharon. It's my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me over. Listen, I was back 6 years ago. I used to be a lawyer in court, litigating and suing people and defending others, and you know, I was very busy doing my stuff. And being young, really, the notion of passing really wasn't in my radar screen. So it really happened 6 years ago when my wife was diagnosed with brain cancer. And she passed away like 7 months after being diagnosed with this deadly condition. Never ever we discussed the idea of dying prematurely. We were young. We are young. We are invincible. We're not going to die now. And more so because my wife was from Colombia. I'm from Venezuela, and in our countries this is a cultural thing. We don't like to talk about that these uncomfortable issues. So as such, we never discussed this. And obviously, losing my wife was a very painful episode, but not having planned for that made things even worse. That kind of made me change my practice area from litigation to what's called estate planning, which I've been doing for the past 6 years, really helping people. I'd say most importantly, educating people about if there is one certain thing in life that's going to happen, is that we will at some point die. And if that's going to happen, we might as well plan so that our loved ones are not left with confusion, with disarray, with costs, and more importantly, with anger, because that's when our worst angels come out because of the stress, and we don't want to have family disunity. That's why I'd like to help people doing that.
Okay. If I'm gonna, okay, me myself, I go and I have all this stuff, and I think automatically my kids are gonna be. I don't do a will. Something happened. What's gonna happen with all my assets for my kids? That they're gonna go automatically to my kids, or what is different from our cultures from the state of Florida? Because
Yeah.
that's what people, and this is, I think that is the most thing that people think that automatically their kids will be the heritage of their assets, and that's not what is
Not
going on here in Florida.
necessarily. Not
Hmm.
necessarily. When if you die without a last will and testament,
Hmm.
what happens is that you die intestate. That's the term that's used. And what means really is that the state of Florida decides where your inheritance will end up, in what hands. Um, by default, usually what happens is that it goes to your spouse, to the surviving spouse, and then after goes to the kids. But you know, life is not that simple. We have we have blended families, kids from other marriages.
Hmm.
Things are really complicated, and interstate laws really do not apply to the modern family concept that we have today. So relying on not having anything is really a bad idea.
Wow. So for the comfort of the family and the person that has um, going through this, it's better to have to do a will. And
For sure.
for sure. And then how you gonna how you advise your clients to get all this stuff get done, because there's people still that they don't they, yeah, you tell them and you ask them. In the hospitals they ask you whenever you get before you go to immediately you get hospitalized, they ask you, okay, do you have a will, do you have this, do you have that, and they're like, okay, no, I don't see why it's so important, because they don't see it as important as any other person.
You really hit the nail very well. It is, I'm for, when I was back in Venezuela, things were much simpler. Here, things work differently. So if you are incapacitated,
Hmm.
if you are unable to communicate or don't have the cognitive abilities to
Yeah.
do what you usually do, you really need to have what's called a power of attorney, where you
Okay.
name someone
Hmm.
so that they can sign legal documents on your behalf, so they can sign your checks, so they can pay your bills on your behalf, so they can take the money out of the bank so to pay, for your, medical bills.
Hmm.
Um, Otherwise, the bank is going to say who you are again. I'm not going to give you money to a stranger, but they will give you to someone who is named in what's called a power of attorney. Now, the other side of that coin is called a healthcare proxy, okay, where you designate someone to make medical decisions on your behalf. So you don't have capacity to express yourself, you're in a coma or something. You already have thought about someone who will be taking care of you, who will be telling the doctors
But
what to
that's
do.
different from the power of attorney.
Yes.
That's
So
completely different.
those are two separate documents. So the
Okay.
power of attorney talks about gives you power to sign legal documents, financial
Uh-huh.
documents. The healthcare proxy is where you give power to someone to make medical decisions on your behalf. Okay, it's a very different thing. It's when the doctor says, "Hey, we have these options. What are we going to do?" Okay. Now, it's not that this person is going to say, "Hey, I'm going to do whatever I want." Here's where the what's called the living will comes
Okay.
into play. This is a third document, living will, where where you tell the world how would you like to be taken care of? What preferences do you have? People call this the pull the plug document. Okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
so if someone finds themselves in a terminal condition, or if there was an accident, they are in a persistent vegetative state. Um, if there is a healthcare proxy, there is already someone that will say what to do with you. But together with the living will, that living will give instructions to your proxy what to do. So you have all sorts of people that for spiritual or
Hmm.
religious reasons say life is above anything. You keep me alive no matter what.
Correct.
In that case, the proxy will have to carry out those wishes and keep that person alive at any cost. And they'll find out what the costs are and they will, cross that bridge. But that's what the wishes are. Some others have a different approach to life and say, if I find myself in a terminal condition, let nature takes its course, just keep me comfortable and let me go, without any pain. The proxy, the healthcare proxy, will have to carry out those wishes, even if the proxy is against that, because those are the wishes, and the proxy is with the obligation to follow those wishes. So we've been talking about the incapacity documents, okay? And people tend to confuse living will with the last will and testament. But the living will is different. We already talked about that. Is when you are, incapacitated. Last will and testament is when people pass. And when people die, that document tells the judge, because everything goes to what's called the probate court. And in the probate court, the judge reads the testament and sees what the person's wishes were in terms of how to, pass their inheritance. Some people would like to, some people have kids that have issues. So I want to give a little bit more to this person than to that person, kind of this situation. That happens a lot. So it's not always, everybody takes the same. Some people need more help. And that is expressed in a testament.
Okay, you said something about kids, and especially you were thinking about you were talking about kids with special needs. But what happened if I'm a young woman with a small child? Like I have many friends of mine that they're single and they have little children. They can prevent these kids if something happened earlier for them, for the mother. If something happened, who can take the kid if they're by themselves with the kid? Can they do that?
So I have good news and bad news about that.
Okay.
So, so if we're talking about a single mom, for example,
Yeah.
let's say the dad left home when she was pregnant. Let's suppose that, and this guy, hasn't shown up ever. Should she die prematurely when the kid is still minor? The law provides for the dad to take over. Um, uh,
Even though the dad have never been involved
even though even though the dad never has been involved in the raising of the kid. Now, whether the dad is going to show up or not, that's a different story.
Correct.
But there's a big but here, because those who would be disagreeing with that, I presume, family of the woman that have passed would say, no, this guy is not fit to be a father. They do have a say in what's called guardianship court, and they can argue in front of the judge that to say that this man is not fit to be a father. They can, do some further investigations. Maybe the person hasn't had a clean record, maybe, has had some financial troubles, who knows? So they can say this person has abandoned the home since the kids were even born. And, he's not. So it would be, at the end of the day, up to the judge to make a final decision. But part of the estate planning process is also to have a document that's called the Designation of Pre-Need Guardian. Okay? This is a document where the person, let's say this mom that is still alive, and she thought about this before passing, and she filled this document, and she said, "Look, this man is no good. I want to have my sister to take care of my child if I'm gone."
Something happened. Okay.
So this document ends up in probate court, and it has a lot of weight. the judge will consider that strongly. Whether it's going to be like final word, no, the judge will still be hearing the dad if he chooses to show up. But that document, that designation of preneed guardian, that's part of the estate planning process, does have a big weight in the judge's final ruling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So at least they can express that. What I understand is with that document, at least you can express what is
Yes.
your feeling about what's gonna happen when you're not there, and then the judge can take their decision.
And,
That's
and this is more, and this applies more to like regular, let's say couples, that young couples that are concerned. What if we both we're on an
correct.
airplane and then
There's
they
a,
open.
there's accidents and
Yeah,
they get in this accident, and we have seen this in the news many times. Young couples
many times.
were driving to
They
go
end up-
to Disney World,
yeah,
and then this fatal accident happened, and then the kids are the only survivors. And
correct.
what happened with the kids?
What happens with the kids? So if the couple has thought about this ahead of time and had this document, and the process of the document is not that simple. They have to think about someone really that has the same like style in raising kids. They really
Mhm.
might want to talk to the person. Are you willing to take over if we're gone? Type of questions. Really uncomfortable questions, but are really necessary. If they have
Correct.
done those issues, if they have addressed those issues ahead of time, listen, kids will end up in good hands very quickly. No limbo kind of situation, and people would be far better off if they had that done before.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we don't think that it could happen, because we know, okay, today is we're alive, and that's it, but we don't know what can happen. There's so much life-changing situations. The other thing, people that get cancer, like in the case of your wife, you don't think that you're gonna get any type of disease like that, and
Not at
especially
all.
when we're young, and then you get those, and you're like, okay, today I'm here, but tomorrow what's going to happen? Everything is
Right.
so for granted. you don't
Yes.
you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
That's basically the thing. Wow.
Yeah.
You have left me like,
Yeah.
oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, well, things happen. I mean,
Hmm.
not always life is perfect.
Hmm.
And now with this pandemic going on, I get lots of calls of people like, concerned. I mean, the notion of mortality is in front of us,
Hmm.
with this virus, and people get scared. People get anxious. People get anxious about their parents who are elders, and that or people or members of the family that have medical conditions that are especially vulnerable to the virus. This is a time that people really think about, well, what if? And it's a good time to have these uncomfortable conversations with our loved ones, and plan accordingly.
Yeah, that's people, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. That's why I have Danielle here, so we can clarify all. This is a topic that I know that is very difficult for many of us, but it's a topic that we need to be on top of it. There's a lot of stuff that you guys don't know about what happened when we're not here, and what's going to happen with our stuff, with our kids, if they're minors, what's going to happen with our states. What if there's a reason why we have to plan for our future. It's not only for our immediate future. We need to plan for what's going to happen next, the day that we're not here. So um I'm just like in shock, Danielle, because like I said before, this is something that we do not think, or we don't want to think. We don't want to think that the loved ones are not going to be here anymore, and what's going to happen. And everything is happy and dandy when everybody's alive, but then many of the families, after everybody's deceased, then it's like, okay, well, I don't like you anymore. I just want this and that, and and everything becomes a fight, and it cannot be that way. There's
Yeah, been there, done that, and the finger pointing and the resentment and the acrimony and the bad feelings, and basically people stop talking to each other.
hmm
Not planning means family disunity. The opposite is also true. You plan and you have the family united, especially during those very, very painful times.
and this is what I brought you here, because I thought that this time, this is such a question, such a thing that we need to open eyes to the people and tell them, hey, do you know what's going to happen with your family after the day that you're not here? I know that you don't want to talk about this, but this is what it is. This is the reality, and we need to face it, and we need to be prepared. I don't know. And in your case, to be the change that you have done from doing the regular litigations to go specifically to this is an eye opener, bigger eye opener, because um, from being conscious of what happened in your life, and then now bring it to others and try to educate others to say, hey, this is what's going on, is tough. Is
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I have many people that they have a little of curiosity about things, and when they hear my story, when they realize what can happen by not planning, it's an eye opener for them. And one thing that I've seen in every single client that I had after doing their estate plan, they feel that they have this huge weight off their backs. They feel far better. They feel more secure, or at least they know that should something happen, their loved ones will be taken care of. This is a level of uncertainty that's gone once they do their proper planning.
Wow, it's incredible, and I'm like I said at the beginning, speechless, because I didn't know myself many of the things, and I'm not ready. If something happened today, I don't know what's gonna happen, because I never thought that that was something important. Yeah, you only think on having a house, having this, having that, give the best that you can to your kids, but that's it. That's all you think. You never think when you're not gonna be here.
Now, and you know that having a house, it may be
hmm
the start of the whole tragedy.
Yes.
Because if you have your house named to yourself,
hmm
that's a big issue. Because if you die, that property goes to probate. No one can claim ownership of that house. You have to go through the whole process. It takes more than a year. It's super expensive to get that deed that was named to you over
hmm
to your heirs, to your inheritors. Now, there are ways to get around that, and many people do that by not naming yourself as the owner of the house. You name a trust as
hmm
the owner of the house. That's your trust. You still are the owner of that house. But once you pass, the trust makes sure that your beneficiaries, that are your descendants, take possession, and no one goes to court.
Yeah, we do as a realtor. We have a lot on that. Whenever we have a property that is in that situation, and then everybody wants to sell it. Everybody claims that they're the owners, but then they're not the owners. They're one part of the heritage,
Right.
but they're not the person that the government. And then you're like, what? Let's
And
go.
picture this scenario where you have two kids. One
hmm
wants to sell, the other one wants to keep it. What are
Yes,
you going to do?
that's so true.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. We see that a lot. Then what happened when you have a trust? Because
So
we as a realtors also take that other side, the side when you have the houses on a trust. Is that different from? from everything, or that helps more when the person is deceased? How this work?
Incredibly more. It's a better way to, when you own property, when you buy a house, to have it under the name of a trust. So it's called a revocable trust, where this is it's sort of like a legal fiction where it's your alter ego. It's you, except in a separate, disembodied from you, but you're still the owner of it. And but this trust is the owner of the house. So should you die, then the trust is still the owner. The trust didn't die. The trust continues. So the owners of that house now become the beneficiaries of the trust. So no court proceedings, no fighting. You can tell in the trust how that house is going to be disposed. You may say, I want to keep it, I want to sell it, I want to have your kids decide what's the best course of action. You can decide all kinds of stuff. So you may have a kid that's living with you, and I want to make sure that the kid that's living with me stays in the house until that person dies, and then after that person dies, then the remainder of the family gets it, for example. That happens very, very often. So you can establish all that in a trust. Yes, it kind of adds more cost to the process of buying a house, but in the long run, you're saving your loved ones pain, expenses, anger, all sorts of things by doing that.
So when is the best time to do it if you're buying a house? After, or you can do it anytime after you purchase the house?
So you can do it anytime. And usually most of my clients, when they contact me, they already have a house. And I point out, the risks of having the house in their names. And some people kind of like say, oh, it's a great idea to, put it into a trust. We can do that after the house is bought. There are many people that like to invest in real estate, and then they buy small properties and they sell them, and then they rent them, or they do Airbnbs and that sort of thing. That's always good to have that under a trust. Don't have that under your own name. That creates all kinds of legal problems. If you have a tenant and then the tenant suffers any injuries, they can sue you. It's a big headache you want to avoid, and there are ways to avoid that. You need to talk to an attorney that knows about this type of issues, real estate and estate planning, to avoid that sort of thing. Many people like to invest in real estate for rentals, but you need to know how to do it the right way.
Correct, and that's the key in this business. Yes, it's easier to have many properties and whatever, but these are the little things that some people don't think when they're doing this. It's like, who's gonna be, if something happened to that tenant, what is your part as a landlord?
Yes.
How is your responsibility? It's not only providing them with the opportunity to rent this house.
Right.
It's just that there's other implications in this whole business that we don't think about.
Correct. Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to add that I haven't asked you that is very important and I'm overseeing it?
No, listen. First of all, thank you again for inviting me. I think you are covering an issue that, number one, is very uncomfortable to discuss among loved ones, and regrettably so. Maybe 30% of the American population does their own estate plan. The other 70% prefer just to sweep it under the rug and not think about it. That's number one. Number two, being a Latino, I can say that there is a cultural barrier to cross when it comes to, well, what if we die? And I've been there and done that and have paid the price for not having planned things on time. So there are cultural barriers that we need to overcome. We need to really keep an eye on really what's best for our loved ones. Let me tell you, before this whole thing happened, my position was, you know what? I'm going to be dead. Who cares? I'm going to be gone. Let them figure it out what to do. Unfortunately, I was on that other side of the equation, and I saw firsthand what happens when you take that position. And it's a big weight. You want to avoid that. So if you care about your family, if you care about family unity, especially in moments of stress, and moments of stress is when people die, for example, you want to make sure that you plan ahead. There's no need to spend inordinate amounts of money in doing this sort of thing. Of course, if you have complex portfolio of assets, that's a different story. But basic estate planning, every person over the age of 18 should have. Why I say 18? Because younger than 18, your parents will make, decisions on your behalf.
On
But
your behalf, yeah.
yeah, but once you're over 18, you need basic estate plan. Everyone should have it. Will give you empowerment, will give you certainty, will give you a peace of mind that if something happens, things will be taken care of and there will be no fighting.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It was a pleasure to have you here. I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be more questions later on. I'm having your name going down for the rest of the day. Thank you so much for having you
My pleasure.
for giving me the opportunity to have you here. I'm not gonna take any more of your time. Um, we'll talk later. People, but if you need a Danielle, remember Danielle is a very knowledgeable in this topic. He has his own experience that came through with this, and it's very important to do estate planning. Es muy importante para todos proteger nuestro patrimonio. Estamos vivos hoy, no sabemos lo que va a pasar mañana. Tú quieres proteger a tu familia y es bien importante. Por favor, te pido, piénsalo, habla con tu esposa, habla con tu esposo si estás escuchando esto. Hay ajustes que tienes que hacer, hay cosas que necesitas dejar. Set antes de uno pasar al otro día. No sabemos cuándo vamos a estar, si el próximo día vamos a estar vivos. No lo sabemos. Lo único que tenemos cierto en nuestra vida es que todos vamos a morir. No importa cuándo. Es un tema muy delicado, pero para eso les traje a Daniel. Llamen a Daniel al 305-924-2918. Yo voy a tener toda la información de él en mi página. Por favor, no lo piensen, llámelo para una consulta y entonces arreglen todo. De esa manera, cuando ustedes fallezcan, no va a haber peleas entre su familia, que es lo más importante. Sus hijos van a estar todos pues de acuerdo siguiendo lo que ustedes quieren. Bueno, espero que les haya gustado mi programita del día de hoy. Los espero la semana que viene a las 7 de la noche en el Café de la Tarde con Sharon. Aquí vamos a estar trayendo mucha más información para ti. Acuérdate, si necesitas comprar una casita, aquí estoy yo para ayudarte en el área de Orlando, all the way to Tampa. Ahí yo voy a donde tú necesites, ahí estaré para ayudarte. ¿Por qué? Porque en Tower Team Realty nuestra prioridad es que seas dueño de tu hogar donde vas a hacer las memorias con tu familia. Te traemos temas en nuestros programas, tanto en Construyendo Sueños los jueves a las 12 del mediodía, como yo a las 7 de la noche. Te traemos todo lo que tú necesitas para mantener esas memorias que estás haciendo para tu familia y manteniendo tu legacy, tu legado, tu patrimonio. Bueno, fue un placer estar con ustedes y los espero el próximo jueves aquí en el Café de la Tarde con Sharon a las 7 de la noche. Sharon, Tower Team Realty, Orlando. Buenas noches. Ok, bye bye.